Is going to relate with. We're not going to tell you more. Let's take you straight to everything we have on the show. Take a look. These are the headlines. Our first story on the show, how your childhood can experience, how the experiences you have in early childhood can shape your future and how you can undo the parts you aren't comfortable with. TBC is going to be telling you all. On the program, we're going to be decoding the neuroscience of self-discovery. An entire journey of self-transformation in just 20 minutes. That's what's going to play out right here on the show. We have two experts joining us live.
Also, our special focus today is a conversation of absolute courage. We again take you back to the IAS officer who conquered the Paralympics. He's but gunning for gold as he goes to the next one. The extraordinary story of Sidharths Yathiraj.
And then we take you to the road. We're going to bring you a review of the 2024 Hero Destiny 125. It's a family-friendly scooter, as you can see, but it's gotten a modern twist with its design. It's going to offer, hopefully, comfort and practical features. But Overdrive's always going to be telling you, is it worth the hype? Is it worth the purchase? Overdrive gets you the verdict.
And it's the story that's really lighting up our morning. It's the simple elegance, the quiet luxury of Aditi Rao Hydari and Sidharth's wedding that happened in an intimate affair. But yes, Instagram means all of us have an into it. We look into all those pictures of that gorgeous wedding. All right, so that's the lineup, but let's start with something slightly personal, even profound, many would say. How exactly do our childhood experiences, both good and bad, shape us as individuals, as adults, as human beings? Does it have a role to play in who we become, how we act? Well, we are inspired by the courageous stories of several celebrities, Malaika Arora being the recent one, who has spoken about publicly about how childhood has now influenced her life. Similarly, there are other public figures as well who have shared experiences of childhood trauma, how it's impacted their relationship, their careers, their overall well-being as well. But this topic, let's just remind all of us and all of, we as well in the studio, that this is a topic that's just not about celebrities. It's about each one of us. Our childhood experiences, whether joyful or painful, leave an indelible mark on our lives. And they shape up our relationships, our coping mechanisms, even our creativity.
And what it's very, very crucial to understand, and we want this to be your big takeaway today too, is that while you can't change the past, there is so much research, so much that has been done to understand how we can rewrite the blueprint for the rest of our lives. How you can hopefully undo some of that trauma, what that process looks like, how you can even identify whether you're acting out of a place of childhood trauma in the first place. We're going to actually explain and explore all of the psychological impact of parental separation, for example. That's something that happens early in our lives and impacts us for our whole lives. The defense mechanisms that you can develop out of incidents that happen in your early childhood. And as we said earlier, what effective coping strategies in the real time actually look like. We'll discuss how our brain processes childhood trauma, how we can rewire it, we told you this earlier, and we'll share practical tips because we talk a lot about the idea of self-love, the idea of self-parenting, but what does that actually look like in practicality? Particularly, a lot of us still live with our parents. How do you self-parent when your parents are still in the next room? We're going to take a deeper look at all of that right here on the show. Joining us on the broadcast, we have two specialists, but first we're going to go over to Sonakshi Jindal. She's a life coach and a therapist. She's with us this morning to bring us a breakdown. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Sonakshi, just tell our audiences, before we go any deeper and we ask you the what can be done, let's ask you a little bit more about the how. So for audiences, especially audiences who don't want to buy into the idea that your early childhood trauma can affect you as late as into your 40s, your 50s, just tell us, who are some of the clients you see? How do you see their early childhood incidents actually still impacting them? How does it manifest in their day-to-day?
Hi. So, as we grow as children, any traumatic experience that happens with us as a child, we absorb it completely. And what happens is, we, as children do, they try to take everything as if they are responsible, right? And they try to build coping mechanisms with it. So, for example, I see something difficult around me, that my mother is really angry. And I think, oh my God, what have I done to make her angry? And how can I make it better for her? So I become a pleaser. I'm always on my toes, trying to pay attention to what can go wrong and how can I make someone angry. So I'll be very mindful about my behavior as a child. And so as an adult, it becomes a excessive amount. So I become a people pleaser. I can also show up as a doma to other people, or as a positive outcome of it, I can become very empathetic. That, you know, how is someone else feeling, and how can I be present to them? How can I be available to them? How can I make it better for them? So it's very person to person how they take it. But just as a child, whatever difficult experience that you have, you build your behavior and your mind around it. So your entire personality today is really all about what your childhood was. And it is scientifically perfectly proven.
All right, no pressure on parents then who have toddlers at home. I'm clearly talking about people like me. But Sonakshi, I want to understand this. Is there a particular age bracket that has most impact on experiences? Are we looking at early years, say 0 to 5, or are we looking at teenage that leaves a lasting impression in your mind?
So, in terms of programming, really, whatever energy you're taking, what is going to be your emotional experience is decided from your womb till the age of 5.
From your
which
womb,
is truly
wow.
very early. Yes. And in terms of programming and self development, it's 7 to 14. So it's actually very early that you learn who you are and you build a personality. Anything and everything post that is just development over that personality. So, for example, you have a belief that I can never be enough or I can never do enough. Everything post 14 is just going to prove to you how you're not enough. You really do not build new belief system post 14.
Very interesting. Okay, can we ask you this question also, Sonakshi? We just want to understand. Therapy now is, you know, a concept that's entered into the mainstream. And we know that a very large part of therapy is discovering what your childhood issues are, what the trauma that, you know, has come from those childhood issues is. And then a large part of it is dealing with that trauma and figuring out different coping mechanisms. I just want to ask you though, Sonakshi, there are a lot of people who still have hesitancy to going to therapy in the first place. For those people who might be watching right now, what are ways that you can actually see within yourself first signs of a need to go to therapy, a need to deal with your childhood trauma and that? What does that look like in the everyday?
So, in everyday, I think for everyone, as human beings, what do we really want? We want to be happy, right? Are you happy? Do you love every minute of the day? It's as simple as that. Are you happy today? Are you grateful for your body, for the weather, for your parents or your family, for the food that you're eating? Are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying having conversations with your family or sitting with them? Do you feel comfortable sitting alone without any media, without entertainment? Can you sit with yourself? Can you go on a walk by yourself? Can you take initiative for your own life without someone telling you what is right and wrong? Can you just be happy in yourself and take charge? If not, there is something very wrong. Because as human beings, we are really built to enjoy and love life every single minute. And if you're not doing that, and if you're not feeling that, something is amiss. And it is time to look into yourself and figure out, why am I not happy when I have everything? Do you not really have anything and everything you dreamed of 10 years ago? We all have. What we really wanted, we have it. But are we appreciative of it? Are we grateful for it? Are we loving it? No. We're so busy about what we don't.
Yeah, but Sonakshi, I have to interject to say this. Are we really ever happy? Isn't it always a pursuit? Isn't it always sort of a goal that you walk towards, and it's just the journey that counts? But that's, you know, that's a topic for another day maybe. I want to go back to understanding this. When you say 7 to 14 are the years where maximum brain character, if I can call it that, is developing, right? Your personality is developing. It means both good and bad. We keep looking at childhood as a basis of trauma, but you're saying it's the basis of confidence, it's the basis of resilience as well. And that shapes up everything that you become. So when people say I have childhood baggage, it could not just be about coming, say, from a broken family or coming from seeing violence at home. It's not just that, it's subtle cues as well.
100%. So your environment is what defines your emotional and mental intelligence, right? Your personality development. So as a child, if you've seen an environment where you are encouraged to speak, to be an individual, you will naturally develop so. Whereas there's someone who is over pampered and over given, they are taught what? That it's not required for them to behave a certain way, or it's not required for them to have any input or have an opinion. And so they're like, okay, I can do whatever I want and everything is fine. I can throw tantrums, I can do drama, and I cannot succeed at anything, and it's still going to be absolutely okay. So it is the behavioral experience that we have access to in our environment that defines who we become as adults. So emotionally, the space that I've gotten to express myself till the age of 5. So how my mother expresses herself, how my father expresses himself, what that dynamic is, how much space do I have to cry or to be happy or to be angry will define my expression. Whereas in my later years, that is in my teenage, what space do I have to express my opinion? What do I think about myself and about the world is built, and personality around it is sustained over your adulthood.
Sonakshi, let me ask you, I guess, a little bit of a tougher question here. I do want to ask, because the process of therapy itself, sitting and going into one's trauma, it's a long process. It can take many years. And I just want to ask you, therapy can also be very expensive for people to afford. And the tricky thing is, and Sonal, you actually touched on this a little earlier on the show, what are we moving towards? Do you know what I mean? It feels like a process that's never actually ever done. Each time you're done with unraveling one layer, you discover, no, my anger also comes. It's something I've learned from my parents. Okay, no, you know, it's like a blame game also. I've seen parents get very frustrated when kids go to therapy and then learn a therapy language, you know, that they then say, you know, to their parents, you're responsible for the way I am today.
Yeah. So everything is the parents' fault.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask you, Sonakshi, is there a need to look at this model? Because therapy, A, very expensive, B, laborious, it'll take you years, C, sometimes you're not even guaranteed at the end of it that, you know, kuch niklega usse. So I just want to ask you a little bit of your thoughts there.
So, darling, I absolutely believe that you're not going to the right therapist if this is happening. Because yes, therapy is expensive, and to each therapist and life coach his own, they create their own payment regime. But I do believe that why are we so ready to pay for our makeup and our clothes and our entertainment and our travel that does absolutely nothing to fulfill our lives? Whereas when it is to pay to look into ourselves and to figure out our mind and our body, something that is permanent and we will live and die with, we're not willing to pay for that. Isn't that interesting? That what conditioning has been given to us, that it's okay to pay for one and not the other.
I love that. Your exteriors you're ready to pay for, but your interiors...
Yeah, all the self-love advocates, Sonakshi, are going to not like this, that you've said clothes and makeup do nothing. All the self-love people are going to come after you now after having said this on the show. So good luck tackling them.
You know, that I can look into the mirror and, you know, my face is enhanced and my body is enhanced and my hair looks amazing. It's a great way to admire yourself, but you cannot love your beauty. You love who you are, you love your mind and you love your heart, and you love who you are as a human being. It is, you can admire beauty, but love is really something much more deeper. And so it is important to work on who you are. And if there is another human being who can help you enter your mind and reprogram it and make it into a belief system that you want to live with, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that something you would love to pay for? And yes, secondly, you will, it is an endless process. Till the day you die, you can always work on yourself. The way anything on this planet you can make better till your last minute, right? And it is a wonderful, beautiful journey that truly is endless. But the deeper you go, the more vibrant you become, the more loving you become, and the more wholesome your life experience becomes. And truly, that's what this journey is for, that you can be more you and more joyful every single day and make it brighter. So
Right.
that's a wonderful choice to make.
I think
And
my
also
takeaway.
one more point. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Sonakshi, sorry, we're running out of time, so we've got to wrap this up very quickly. But I think the takeaway from what you've said here is this, that yes, everything that happens in your childhood shapes up who you become later, but that also means that there are ways to actually reprogram your mind. And I think that's a good in for our next guest as well. Joining us is Kumaar Bargrodia. He's called India's brain enhancer, quite interestingly. He's the founder of Neuroleap, India's leading applied neuroscience company. And they sort of help us understand and enhance our subconscious brain with personalized neurotechnology based solutions. He's also the founder of Arkni Photo BioLife, a therapeutic wearable device for systemic heal and wellness. So very interesting stuff. So one way is what we discussed right now, Kumar, which is therapy. The other is the connections within the brain. So, you are the expert here. First, help us understand. So we keep talking about mind, but let's look at it as brain and pure neuroscience for some time. How are these connections formed and can they be reformed?
Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for recognizing that it's not just about the mind, it's not just about psychology. I'd like to look at trauma from its relationship with neurobiology and psychopathology. So trauma of any kind can actually alter the structures in the brain networks. Our brain functions in networks. So it's not just that one location in the brain is responsible for a particular task or a cognitive function or an emotional skill. It operates in networks wherein different locations in the brain exchange data and information. When there is trauma, those networks are rewired. That trauma could be in adulthood, early childhood, in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, at any age. Early childhood trauma has a more significant impact because, as we know, that is your formative years, when your mindset, your personality, your character, that is more easily moldable. So in addition to changing the networks, what trauma also does is it changes your cerebellum, the actual structure of the cerebellum, the way the cerebellum responds to external environment, to your internal thoughts, to any. And the cerebellum has 80% of the neurons of your brain. The second aspect, and it's not just your mental health, trauma actually changes your physical health as well. And the way it does so is your mitochondria function in the body changes. Mitochondria are prevalent in all cell-based living organisms on the planet. So whether it's a plant, mammal, reptile, insect, human, we all have mitochondria to power us. We cannot think, we cannot breathe, we cannot eat without mitochondria. And trauma changes the way mitochondria behave, which means the way we will think will change, our response to food, our response, to any environmental change, the way we breathe, all of that. So there is a huge neurobiological and psychopathological response of the body to any trauma.
So, Kumar, I want to ask you, before we talk a little bit about Neuroleap, I want to ask you a slightly related question. So,
Sure.
We know that almost the name of the game here is neuroplasticity, right? The idea that your brain can keep changing, keep growing, even though patterns are created. If you keep a brain of a certain kind, and we're going to talk about that in a second, you can actually still ensure change. And that's why, Kumar, I want to come to you and ask you, before we talk a little bit about the science and the technology you are working on, tell our audiences a little bit about the science and the technology and the research that already exists. So what am I asking? Techniques like, for example, meditation that will lead to neuroplasticity, elasticity in your brain that we already know exist in the public domain. Tell us about that first.
So What is neuroplasticity? It is the ability of the brain to change on the basis of any external or internal stimulus, right? So external stimuli could be sunlight, it could be friends, it could be exercise, it could be the news we consume, the content we read, the books we read, the people we associate with. And the internal stimuli are those hardwired subconscious thoughts, the mindset, the patterns which already exist. So there's always this constant tussle when a person is trying to change from within. There's always a constant tussle because your existing subconscious patterns want to keep drawing you back onto that same track. And you have to keep pushing out of your comfort zone to come out of it. Now, meditation is a great tool to help with neuroplasticity, and not just neuroplasticity, with anxiety, with depression, with any kind of trauma. Meditation is a fantastic tool, but it's not for everyone. There is a lot of research, not just anecdotal, but empirical as well, that meditation in certain instances can actually be detrimental.
Oh, wow.
But let's not go there. But for the most purpose, meditation is a great tool. You can also do yoga, anything which helps the mind, body, and brain to come in sync, the mind-body connect. And all of these activities, playing a racket sport is fantastic. Learning how to play a musical instrument is great to rewire your brain. Learning a new sport is great to rewire your brain. Learning a new language.
Yeah.
So all of these are things which don't require therapy in the common sort of parlance, but these are of therapeutic value to your brain, right? One should also realize that a lot of the neuroplasticity depends on your biology. So your own nutrition, your exercise level, how much of sunlight are you getting, how much of oxygenation are you getting, because the brain consumes energy 24/7. Even when it's sleeping, the brain is consuming energy. So if your brain is energy deficient, if it's not getting the right kind of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, if the mitochondria in the brain are not functioning well, there will be no way you can use neuroplasticity to your advantage. It will only be a degrading neuroplasticity. You will not be able to improve things if the biology is not sorted.
Okay. But Kumar, let's simplify things a little bit. So what you're essentially saying is that there are traditional tools. That means there is a traditional way to go about sort of rewiring your brain. What we've established so let's look at step by step. We established that there is a connection between who you are and your experiences that you face as a child becomes who you are as an individual. But that's not the end at all. It can be rewired. Ways to rewire it is yoga. And then there is what you do, which is making use of tools to rewire your brain. Is there a better way to sort of understand that? Can you tell us how this works? There is some LED involved here and I'm too scared to ask anymore.
So there are two things we use. One is a service which is Neuroleap, where we use sensors to understand your subconscious brainwave patterns. So we only read your brain waves. We are not doing anything. There is no electric current going in, no magnetic waves, nothing of that sort. And we are reading data and inferring right down from your cerebellum, right? Which earlier we used to call the little brain or the mini brain, but that actually has 80% of your neurons. And that is the emotional center of the brain. It looks at emotional regulation, your appetite control, mood control, all of that. And we are the only company in the country which is able to understand data from the cerebellum. Most other technologies are only calculating from the cerebrum, which is the 20% of the neurons. And so that is one thing that we do, which is understand your brain waves, understand what networks in the brain are causing, let's say, anxiety or depression or addiction or inattention or dyslexia or your anxiety-based eating or obsessive eating compulsive eating disorders, so on and so forth. We can also pinpoint and look at networks which are responsible for creativity. So pretty much everything under your emotional abilities and patterns, as well as your cognitive abilities, all of these can be mapped without you having to speak a single word, without you having to answer any personal questions. That is one of the other USPs. That why should, let's take all of us for example. Why should we be going out and spilling our guts out about our personal or professional lives to a stranger? I just don't get that. I mean, first of all, I should be able to do it with family or with friends or near and dear ones who already know us well enough. If I don't have that opportunity, I'd rather be able to go and get an objective assessment of what's going on without me having to say what the problem is. And that's what we do. And then from there on, we are actually able to use the same technology to reward the brain whenever it is performing better than the base that we've already captured. I know it's a little difficult to sort of just explain in a few minutes, but essentially we are rewarding the brain for its good activity and not rewarding it when the activity is not so good. So by a process of reward or no reward, we keep retraining the brain pattern.
What does that reward look like, Kumar? What do you mean when you say you reward it?
Right. So what we do is we are reading the brain waves at the speed of your subconscious. You're not consciously engaging in any task. There is no game that you are playing. That's very gimmicky. To put sensors on your head and then make you play a game in your mobile app is trash, right? And people try and do some of these things at home. That's very risky because you need to have a electrophysiologist. You need to have a neuroscientist who's actually reading that data and telling you what to do. And what we do is, when we're reading this data, we create a customized protocol for each client because each person's trauma is different. Each person's source of anxiety is different. Each person's source of depression or a low mood or addiction is different. And it needs to be customized to that person, to their specific brain waves. So once we do this, all you're doing is you're sitting in a comfortable chair with all the sensors on your head, you're looking at a TV screen. Each time your brainwave performs better, you see a cue on the TV screen. It could be a light, it could be a sound, it could be a number, which is just telling you that you have performed better than the previous time. It's as simple as that.
Simple, you say, Kumar, hard to take your word on that one. I'm finding it very hard to believe. You're saying don't spill your guts out to a therapist, but let somebody else read your brain. That sounds like, but interesting indeed, in how much tech has developed actually. It can read exactly what's happening inside. But I think the gist of what Kumar is also saying over here is that it's not just about reading your brain, it's being able to sort of identify, diagnose the issue and then bring in solutions.
Yes,
different
and
ways of doing it.
I do think one point you made, Kumar, earlier, the fact that this is an alternative to talking. I know so many, unfortunately, men largely, Kumar, if I may, who say they are uncomfortable going out to therapy.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a need for something else.
Yeah.
As we discuss.
Kumar, I'm sorry, we'll leave it there for the moment. There is so much to talk, but we'll definitely return to this very fascinating discussion on how tech can now read brains. Believe you me. Well, don't believe us, believe Kumar on that one.
Okay, coming up after the break, because we're heading into a short break, we're going to be having a totally different switching of tracks. We're bringing you a conversation of courage. Meeting once again the IAS officer who has conquered the Paralympics against all odds. We have with us Sidharths joining us once again, Sidharths Yatiraj. He'll be talking a little bit about his journey to Paralympic glory, what it felt like to win the medal he won, what disappointments were there, and what he hopes for himself next time around. An exciting journey. We'll take a look after the break.
At L'Oréal Group.
Well, the central government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi completes its 100 days of being in power for the third successive term today, coinciding with his 74th birthday as well. Prime Minister Modi's birthday remains much like any other working day, but it does signify an occasion to celebrate the Seva Parv, a fortnight-long festival that the BJP organizes every year to showcase his commitment to citizens' welfare and also service to mankind. Among the first decisions made by the Modi government after coming to power in June this year is approving the 20,000 crore project under the Prime Minister Kisan Samman Nidhi, which is to benefit around 9 crore farmers. The first 100 days of the Modi 3.0 government also saw the income tax slab of rupees 3 lakh to rupees 6 lakh expanded to rupees 3 lakh to rupees 7 lakh. The government also announced the abolition of 31% angel tax, which it claimed had been burdening startups since 2012. The government, in fact, approved a package of rupees 2 lakh crore in a bid to promote employment and skill development amongst the youth. These are just a couple of projects to name a few of his initiatives.
Narendra Modi is 74 and age is just a number for the Prime Minister. He is doing things that others his age don't and maybe simply can't. From a hectic election campaign to flying air sorties or deep sea diving and snorkeling, Mr. Modi has been consistently setting new benchmarks. For starters, the PM did a record-breaking 206 rallies and roadshows during the 2024 election campaign over a period of 76 days. This was almost 3 campaign events daily, with the PM traversing thousands of kilometers across the country. Mr. Modi, in fact, did 40% more rallies and roadshows in 2024 than he did when he was 68 years of age in the 2019 general elections.
Sir, the energy shown by the Prime Minister, he's turned 74, but the kind of things he's doing even at this age, how would you describe the Prime Minister's energy and the Prime Minister's way of working?
See, one way to look at it, like you said, it's only a number. So his energy level would be the same as it was when he was 47. So you can reverse the digits, but there is no change in the energy level. I have seen him as just a Karyakarta when he organized the Kanyakumari to Kashmir Ekta Yatra. And it was the same energy level.
There is more. Last year, Mr. Modi flew a 30-minute sortie in the indigenously designed, developed and manufactured Tejas twin-seat lighter combat fighter aircraft at Bengaluru. This is the first time an Indian Prime Minister has flown a fighter aircraft sortie. The PM described his experience of flying the sortie as memorable. Earlier this year, the Prime Minister went underwater in the deep sea and prayed at the site where the submerged city of Dwarka is. This experience offered the Prime Minister a rare and profound connection to India's spiritual and historical roots. Underwater, he also offered peacock feathers as a tribute to Lord Krishna. He had gone snorkeling in Lakshadweep earlier this year as well. Another habit of the Prime Minister has been to visit soldiers posted at the heights on our borders, be it in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh or Arunachal Pradesh. He started it with a visit to...
Welcome back, and it's time to take you through stories from India and across the globe. Let's start with what's happened in the exciting US elections. Well, launching an attack against Democrats, Donald Trump on Monday said that US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's rhetoric is responsible for the second assassination attempt against him since July. The former US President said that he suspected gunmen acted on the highly inflammatory language of the Democrats. The Republican nominee's sharp remark came a day after he escaped an attack at the International Golf Club in the West Palm Beach in Florida.
We have seen a spate of celebrities launching their has been slammed by her fans. This is her brand Lemmy, and specifically it launched GLP-1. It's a daily capsule. It's supposed to be like Ozempic. That's how it's marketed itself, as a weight loss supplement like Ozempic. And the brand essentially made tall claims on its Instagram page that the capsule can boost the body's GLP-1 production, promote fat reduction and reduce cravings. But fans called it out, saying it was a class action lawsuit waiting to happen.
Netflix is pulling the plug on some of the older iPhone and Apple devices as the first step of its development comes after the halt that it has put on updates of these devices. If you're using an Apple iPhone or an iPad that is running on iOS 16 version and it will not be upgraded to the latest versions, it is time to dump that device actually and get a new one. Apple will be releasing iOS 18 update this week, going by the company's effective software cycle. And iOS 16 is now 2 years old, which means very few devices will be running the version.
And the 76th Primetime Emmy Awards just took place, and many takeaways on stage. Off stage, actor Jennifer Aniston gracing the awards, looking stunning in this particular look. It's an Oscar de la Renta gown. Jennifer was nominated in Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series category. This is for her role in The Morning Show. And she looked chic in this scallop column gown. The pre-spring 2025 strapless ensemble was embroidered with pearls, further embellished with crystals, adding a shimmery moment to her red carpet style. Okay, we're switching tracks now. Our person of interest today, someone who's hugely inspiring and someone who we had on the show just a few months ago. We have an extraordinary guest. He carries the spirit of determination and excellence with him. Please join us in welcoming Suhas Yatiraj, a shining example of what it means to push people and push yourself beyond the limits of what you think is possible. Remember, he's a 41-year-old Indian Administrative Service Officer, an IAS officer. He serves as the District Magistrate of Gautam Budh Nagar in Uttar Pradesh. As we told you, he came to speak to us a few months ago. We have him coming again now. This is only half his story.
Yeah, so he's Babu by the day, and in evening what happens? He transforms into a world-class para-badminton player with a slew of sort of international accolades to his name as well. But come on, the one thing we have to talk about is the fact that he is now a silver medalist at the Paralympics. So welcome, Suhas. Thanks so much for joining us yet again, and big congratulations on the win over here. Tell me, how is the welcome back home? It was a hero's welcome after all. The Prime Minister there to greet all of you as well.
Thanks, Sonal. Thanks for having me. Yes, it's always a happy and proud feeling, especially when you come from Paralympics. Tokyo has been a watershed moment for parasports in general, and this time also the way our fellow countrymen supported us in Paris while we were playing, and once we came back home with medals. So these are the moments that we cherish forever. Yes, last few days have been extremely humbling.
So Has, tell us, are you happy with the silver that you won? Everyone is obviously gunning for gold, but how do you feel?
Silver is always very difficult to comprehend. When you win silver, you sort of feel that you have lost gold and you become sad. And that sadness remains for some time till you see others who have not even won the medal, especially when we were coming back from Paris, when you meet athletes who are not being able to do as well as they would have liked to, and they are not coming with medal. Then you actually realize that you are extremely blessed to have silver on your neck. So it's always mixed feeling. So yes, as they say, gold and bronze winners are more happier than silver winners. So I think it is true to some extent, but that's how life and sport is. You win some, you lose some, but you have to be contentious with what you get.
Okay.
See, we all want a golden life, but this is so good, especially because this year's performance, Suhas, not just for you, but overall as a country, India has outperformed. We've never had such a spectacular win. So help us understand what changed for people like you, because it's not just the number of sports we played, it's the total contingent also that went in. What changed after Tokyo?
I think India always had the potential. After Tokyo, the way para sports were received in this country, sportsmen also started believing that they could do well, and parents and society, they all brought para sports to mainstream. So if you look at the number of athletes who participated in Paris in different categories, including so many female athletes, so it was only expected that we'll do better. And if you look at the numbers, Tokyo we had 19 medals, and now in Paris we have 29 medals. And I'm sure by this rate we'll cross 50 in LA, and then hopefully by the time India hosts its first Olympics and Paralympics, we should be in 3 figures. I think it's to do with the mainstreaming of para sports, and in general the sense of belief that athletes and para athletes have, so that's what has made the difference.
So, as we're also hoping India is able to make it into the top 10 next time at the LA Olympics. But, you know, we always talk about what we hope for. And I don't want us to leave the huge achievement that's just taken place at the Paralympics. You said right now, you touched on it, 29 medals for us, a historic number of golds too. And this is after, in the Rio Olympics a few years ago, we were barely crossing the 10 number. So just tell our audiences key highlights from the games that just happened.
I'll tell you, whenever we go and stay, when we enter the Olympic Paralympic Games village, that itself is an experience that we live and cherish for. You get to live with hundreds of athletes from different countries. The mahal, as they say, the atmosphere, the festive atmosphere that is there, and every day we were doing cycling, we were walking, people are jogging. It's a microcosm of the whole world. You get to meet so many interesting people, and in the evenings also, it's, you know, you go to coffee shops nearby. Some people are extremely serious, some are extremely joyful. There is dancing going on somewhere, there is meditation going on somewhere. I think you get to live sort of, you know, it's you get to live so many moments in such short period of time with such diverse amount of people. That is an experience in itself. And coming to the actual podium, coming to the actual championship, when you go out there and perform, when you wear we all wear Tiranga on our chest, we wear it very proudly. And especially the moments that you win the match, and then the moment that you realize that you have got a medal, and then during the medal ceremony you see the tricolor going up. Those are the moments that you cherish for the rest of your life. If for any athlete, for any person in general, if you rank top 10 moments of your life, they'll say the moment they were born, the moment they got married, the moment they got first job. It definitely ranks up there amongst the top 5 or 10 moments in anyone's life. It's very, I think everyone's vocabulary would fall short to describe such moments.
True. But we have to say this, Suhas, I don't know how you do it, being a IS officer stationed in UP, doing sports. You really are one of those who's married passion with job and done it in a beautiful Sarkari way, which is so unheard of. And I must say this, that you know, Paralympics have done so much for the country, because it's not just of what your achievement is, it's how it inspires the country, it inspires everybody else watching you as well. Do you see that when you meet people and come back? Do you see that impact?
What I would say is life is a journey, each one to his or her own, and we'll all face challenges in our lives. Some days we'll win, some days we'll not win. We just have to keep the positive attitude and keep moving forward. As the famous Rocky movie dialogue goes, life is not full of roses, it will hit you hard, and it does not matter how many times you fall down. What matters is every time you fall down, how you get back up and you punch back. So that's how life is. So what I would say to youngsters is there will be some days when you'll feel low, there will be some days when you'll feel ecstatic. Don't go overboard when you win and don't get depressed when you lose. So I think eventually time is a great leveler and we all get what we deserve finally.
All right then.
Thank you.
Always get up and punch back. We'll take that as our mantra this morning. Thanks so much, Sidharths, for joining us. All right, that set the tone, but talking about punches, let's look at some cars and bikes this time around which are carrying some of those off-road and on it. In India, the scooter segment is a crucial part of the two-wheeler market, known for its practicality and efficiency as well. With many players like Suzuki, TVS, Yamaha and Honda dominating the 125cc category, Hero has now taken a bold step to make a mark in this space.
We're going to bring you the overdrive verdict as we do, and this is around the newly launched 2024 Hero Destiny 125. It is essentially their latest attempt to capture attention, and it also doesn't stray too far from what we expect from a traditional scooter, the way it looks on the road and its aesthetics. It's a classic scooter essentially in every sense. There's a design that doesn't push too many boundaries. It does remain practical. And now we're going to tell you, because this is what you've been waiting for, the overdrive verdict on whether or not you should go out and you should give it a spin. Take a look.
In the recent past, Hero MotoCorp has been seen to up their ante as far as their motorcycles are concerned in terms of aesthetics, fit and finish levels and features as well. And they seem to be doing the same with their scooters, at least taking the 125cc scooter space a little more seriously, because this is the new Destiny 125. As you can see, it's an all new looking scooter, completely refreshed, and there are some changes under the skin as well. So we've been invited to go out to spend some time with it to figure out what it has to offer. So let's get right to it. The Hero Destiny has been around since 2018 and it has been on the receiving end of some features and aesthetic updates since that time, with the aim of course of improving its sales numbers. But to be honest, it didn't really appear to have worked wonders so far. But this is the first time that the scooter is seeing such a substantial overhaul, and things could finally be looking up for the Hero in the 125cc family scooter space. The Destiny gets an all new face, which to me looks a lot better than the old scooter. And like most of the modern Hero two-wheelers currently out there, it's got the H-theme lamps at both ends, which looks quite cool. And there's a projector headlamp in there as well. Strangely though, the projector functions when you flip the light to high beam. And even on this top ZX Plus model, the turn indicators on there are halogen bulbs, which looks a bit out of place. Yes, the top spec ZX Plus Destiny you see here gets some snazzy metallic accents all over its panels. And you also get a fully digital negative LCD display with Bluetooth connectivity and turn-by-turn navigation. But when you're out riding and it's sunny, it can be a bit difficult to read what's actually on there. You also get features like auto-cancelling indicators, which deactivate the turn blinkers after 80 meters, after activation, or 15 seconds, whichever you cross first. And in terms of rider safety, the Hero gets a combined braking system and an auto engine kill function if it detects that the scooter has hit the floor while you're out and about. Now the Destiny 125 is a family scooter, and having more space on a family focused scooter is always a good thing. So this scooter has increased in terms of wheelbase, and also more importantly, the seat is a lot longer now as well. So you have a decent amount of seating area for you and your pillion, a little more than before. And as you can see, the foot space also very convenient, comfortable, and the riding position nice and upright. Should be good for riding in the city over fairly long stints as well. Yes, the seat itself is long, almost the same length as that of the Jupiter 125, if not slightly longer. But unlike with the TVS, you don't have as much storage space under there, with the Hero having a conventionally located fuel tank. It will accommodate a proper half-face helmet though. Now the Destiny 125 still remains a family scooter, so it's never really going to be outstanding in terms of performance. So you still get the same like what you did before, 9 PS of max power, little over 10 Nm of max torque.
All right, so taking you from that to the pictures that have taken over the internet, and if you have been on it, you must have not missed actor Aditi Rao Hydari and Sidhartha, who have tied the knot in a ceremony that was simplicity. It had a sense of tradition, taken all the way from their roots, and also internet can't stop gushing over it. On X, lots of people came on and talked about how it was an old world charm, looked straight out of a Mani Ratna movie as well. We can go on and on about it.
Lots and lots of passion there, but to be fair, they were so beautiful, right?
Absolutely
Such simple,
gorgeous.
And that's the thing, we don't get to see enough simple visuals these days. You know what I mean? Just toned down, you just had lovely jewelry. Let's talk a little bit about the fashion. There was a gold organza lehenga happening for Aditi, a beautiful ruby and gold set of jewelry. Aditi could be seen in the outtakes exchanging vows with Sidhartha. He chose a simple kurta, veshti. We're just showing you on your screens what it looked like right in the
So
library,
cute.
those visuals. The couple met during the shoot of Mahasamudram. They got engaged in March last year. The engagement, even this wedding, it's been a surprise for the media. Here's Shosha telling you a little bit more about everything that went down. Take a look.
No buzz, no Shosha, no exorbitant designer outfits or lengthy guest list. But just like that, actors Aditi Rao Hydari and Sidharth have made it official. The two lovebirds finally and officially tied the knot, and the pictures from their intimate wedding are now going viral. The couple exchanged wedding vows at a 400-year-old temple in Vanaparthi with close friends and family members in attendance, and everything about the wedding looked quite simple. Now let's look at what the bride and groom wore to their special day. Aditi looked ethereal in a beige and gold tissue silk sari paired with traditional gold jewelry that made her look very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. She even kept her makeup simple and dewy, which we think is a nod to the minimal bridal makeup trend. What's more, she skipped mehendi and instead went for a crescent moon design on the back of her palms. Sidharth, on the other hand, was dressed in a simple white kurta.
Next, we're going to take you to something slightly different. We're shifting tracks. We're bringing you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Let's take a look at markets first. GIF Nifty trends indicating a stable opening for the Indian stock markets. US equity indices ended mixed as technology stocks fell, but rate cut hopes continue to linger. Asian markets are trending lower. This is as investors are cautioning. This is ahead of the US Fed meeting and outcome. Gold and crude oil prices are moving sideways. They are awaiting cues as we speak from the same Fed meet.
Let's look at the sector in focus this morning. Key end user market of plastic labware are pointing towards strong demand. Diagnostics market, which saw a slump after pandemic, is now posting decent volume growth as well. The pharma contract research and manufacturing universe has seen a pickup in biotech funding in the last 2 quarters, and Biosecure Act in the USA is leading to a surge in inquiries from innovative pharma companies as well. However, is the road ahead paved with gold, or companies need to be more mindful of competitive pressures as well? You can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about India's pharmaceutical sector and various other actionable insights on markets. It is a premier destination for all your investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control. Hanji, so much we spoke about today, from mental health to weddings,
Shadi.
to all of it. But how cute did they look, Those library pictures.
That's the thing
are
that
to
stayed
die
with us,
for.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And the simplicity, I want to say again, it's rare to see that in Indian weddings. So it was lovely. Anyway, with that, we are going to draw our show to a close. We hope you enjoyed it. All right. Goodbye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
At L'Oréal Group,
2014 to celebrate Diwali with the Jawans. This year, he was in Kargil on the 25th anniversary of the Kargil Vijay Divas, and last Diwali was spent by PM Modi with Jawans in Lepcha in Himachal Pradesh. In 2020, Mr. Modi had surprised all by travelling to Nimu in Ladakh to interact with Indian troops near the India-China border. In 2022, Modi's pictures from Kargil while trying his hands at guns, or the ones from the Defence Expo in 2020 when he fired at a virtual firing range, had also captured headlines.
First thing in the morning and last thing in the morning, he checks on what has been done during the day and what will be done during the day, and there are action taken reports which have to be placed in front of him no matter where he is, and he does go through them.
Well, these are just some examples to prove that age is just a number for Mr. Modi. His strict diet and yoga regime keeps him fit and raring to go. Mr. Modi's closest aide and the country's Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, has said that not only will Mr. Modi continue as the Prime Minister till 2029, but the next government in 2029 will also be formed under the leadership of Mr. Modi.
Well, the central government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi completes its 100 days of being in power for the third successive term today, coinciding with his 74th birthday as well. Prime Minister Modi's birthday remains much like any other working day, but it does signify an occasion to celebrate the Seva Parv, a fortnight-long festival that the BJP organizes every year to showcase his commitment to citizens' welfare and also service to mankind. Among the first decisions made by the Modi government after coming to power in June this year is approving the 20,000 crore project under the Prime Minister Kisan Samman Nidhi, which is to benefit around 9 crore farmers. The first 100 days of the Modi 3.0 government also saw the income tax slab of rupees 3 lakh to rupees 6 lakh expanded to rupees 3 lakh to rupees 7 lakh. The government also announced the abolition of 31% angel tax, which it claimed had been burdening startups since 2012. The government in fact approved a package of rupees 2 lakh crore in a bid to promote employment and skill development amongst the youth. These are just a couple of projects to name a few of his initiatives.
Narendra Modi is 74 and age is just a number for the Prime Minister. He is doing things that others his age don't and maybe simply can't. From a hectic election campaign to flying air sorties or deep sea diving and snorkeling, Mr. Modi has been consistently setting new benchmarks. For starters, the PM did a record-breaking 206 rallies and roadshows during the 2024 election campaign over a period of 76 days. This was almost 3 campaign events daily, with the PM traversing thousands of kilometers across the country. Mr. Modi in fact did 40% more rallies and roadshows in 2024 than he did when he was 68 years of age in the 2019 general elections.
Sir, the energy shown by the Prime Minister, he's turned 74, but the kind of things he's doing even at this age, how would you describe the Prime Minister's energy and the Prime Minister's way of working?
See, one way to look at it, like you said, it's only a number. So his energy level would be the same as it was when he was 47. So you can reverse the digits, but there's no change in the energy level. I have seen him as just a Karyakarta when he organized the Kanyakumari